Oh, thank you for that very kind introduction. So I got some health news. There's a new study out. It turns out that temporal thermometers, as well as blood oximeters, those things you stick on your fingers, clamp on, it tells you your, they are, they may be, the wording may be less accurate among hospitalized patients of color.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big problem because fevers will go undetected in that demographic, and that's unfair. And I've got a quote here from, hang on, I've got
Well,
it.
you're finding that. I just have to say that I feel like those thermometers and stuff like that that go on your forehead or in your skin, or even the ones that are like a gun that's shooting you with a laser, I
That's,
feel like they're all super inaccurate. You
they
either
are.
need one underneath your tongue or stick it up your butt, a rectometer.
Well,
Either that.
the way they work is that it utilizes infrared technology. So it's going to hit the surface and detect temperature based on, you know, the tone of the skin is going to affect that reading, right?
Mm.
That's how the technology works. This guy, Dr. Tom Valley, he was part of the study here. He says, you know, if we don't identify these problems, we can't fix them. He's talking about the purpose of the study, looking into this, why people of colors, you know, their conditions weren't being assessed as correctly as, you know, Caucasian people. He says, if we can't fix them, that's part of the problem. We don't know how far this goes. We don't know how deep this goes, this racism within healthcare.
Mm. Mm.
I gotta say, I think he's accurate there. It's definitely racist. These
Do you think it could
Sure.
be the
health
basis off the
tools.
melanin that's in the skin? So maybe it just like reads differently or something? And
Well,
these
if you took a sheet of white paper and you zapped it with one of these thermometers, it's not going to read exactly the same as you take a sheet of black paper and did the same thing. That's just the way the light refracts and whatever the technology,
right.
you know, just physics.
So
Yeah.
is that not just the light's racist? It's afraid of the black people, so it's like I'm not gonna reflect off of you.
It could be. I don't know. I can't speak for the thermometers.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't have, when they were testing these products before they went to market, why they wouldn't have tried it on different individuals and tested it out.
I don't
White,
know.
I would
Hispanic, Asian, children, adults, old people. You know
I
what I
would
mean?
suspect that they did, but the majority of the population is white people. So I mean, it's still gonna, be profitable or, work for the majority of the people.
Mm.
Uh
When we had our protocols at work, one of them was like a stand-up thermometer like that. It was just sitting by the front door, and you were supposed to lean your head in, and it would automatically scan and give you a readout of your temperature. And they were ridiculously inaccurate. They
Yeah.
would always read 10 degrees cooler than what a human body should be at. And we were supposed to write these numbers down and on a daily sheet. It was so dumb. I don't know what the company thought they were going to do with that information, but
And the thing is like, if it was really during the main times and people were able to be out for having a fever and like whatever, then I would be putting my head up against the heat full blast in my car before I go in and be like, oh geez guys, I'm sorry, I guess I better work from home today. Oh heck.
yeah, what are they going to say?
Right, I'm 120 degrees, I can't come in, I might get somebody sick.
You'd be dead if you're 120 degrees.
But the problem I have with this whole thing, of course, is the fact that they were equating this to racism when it is clearly not. And
Right.
I can recall when I was a kid, I remember I watched some kind of, I don't know, Dateline or That's Incredible or some kind of, like magazine TV show. where they profile new technologies and stuff. And there was this firm out in Japan that was working on facial recognition. And this is early 90s or in the 80s at some point. And they had the creators, they're all, you know, Japanese guys, and they're all sitting in front of the camera, and they're moving around and talking, and you can see on the video screen that this camera was it had like a computer generated face, and it was turning and mimicking the facial expressions of the person that was just sitting in front of the camera. It didn't have all those little knobs and things that you see in movies. And so the reporter that was talking to him was a white guy. So he had lighter color hair, and he sat down and started moving his head around. And when you looked at the panel, the computer generated head was like kept falling back like this because it was trying to adjust. And the problem was they had the dark hair that Japanese people typically have and the contrast against their face. And that was part of how they oriented how they detected the position of the head.
So like
so
the contrast was the anchoring
Right.
of the
So
software.
they gave a black wig to the reporter guy, and he put it on, and sure enough, it worked, and he was able to move around. But the point is, it's not, the technology is not racist. It's just,
Right.
you know, the people developing it, and I can't speak to these temporal thermometers, who invented those, but, you know, nobody thinks of this stuff. It's not racist. It's not malignant in some way.
Malicious?
Malicious. There you go. Malignant tumor. Malicious
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
It's not that.
I think it could be malignant. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess we can't read their minds and determine what their intention was when they
Oh,
developed.
I meant the appropriate use of the word. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think in that case, it's silly. No, I do think there is potentially some precedent in the medical community for potential racism. And I'll tell you at least what a little nugget of why I think that. In the opioid epidemic, there seems to be less people of color that have been negatively affected by the opioid epidemic. And in a book that I was reading, I believe called Dope Sick, is they mentioned that actually they were less likely to be prescribed these particular opioid medications. And that was, I think, earlier on before we know what we know now, which is kind of wild. Because it's either, so you're prescribing more of this medication to white people because you think that it will, like that they deserve it, or you take their pain more seriously, or you're prescribing it to white people because you want to get them hooked on dope. I don't know. Either way, it's a weird topic, but I definitely don't think in this instance that these pieces of equipment are racist.
No, I don't believe so either.
Mhm.